folks that years ago when I first thought I might want to get into politics, it was right next to my other big dream in life, which was to play shortstop for the Detroit Tigers. And, two things that just were not going to happen. And, I started after I got out of college and got involved with Farm Bureau and just realized how much impact the state legislature truly does have on our everyday lives in the UP even. I started to get interested, how does one get there? And that's about when I first met Tom Casperson. I was at a Farm Bureau meeting, he was speaking, and I thought he did a good job, he was okay. And but my dad, after Tom was done speaking, walked over to the Agri-Pack table and wrote a donation to them, which I had never seen my dad give money to a politician before, ever. I couldn't believe it. And so I was like, wow, my dad must really like this guy. And so then, I met Tom a few times over the years, and I'm sure he thought I was just some dumb kid who was overly zealous about politics and didn't know anything. And then he came and heard me speaking at a Farm Bureau event in 2009 and came up afterwards. I was there with my dad, and he says, hey, have you ever thought about running for the State House? And I said, well, yes, but I don't have any money, I don't know anybody, and I'm too young. He's like, oh, none of that matters, you can still run. Don't let that stop you. So after he walks away, my dad says, well, Tom Casperson thinks you should run, you better run. So a few months later, after a lot of prayer and consideration, we met at Tom's house, and my wife and I, and with Diane, and we decided to do it. And that was the beginning of history. And so, I just thank you, Tom, for all of that. It's been a real honor to get to serve with you and to learn from you. But it wasn't always fun. There were some times right at the very beginning when it was Matt Hookey and myself and Tom down there, and we're making some tough decisions, and we had met together, and the best thing we can do is to have each other's back. It's when we make some of these tough votes, it's to stay together so we can have one common message. We can go back to the UP and be three guys standing together strong. So that way people don't think that, people look out there and are like, well, if all three of them think this, we ought to at least consider that what they're saying is correct. So I don't exactly remember the issue, but we were voting in both chambers at the same time on two different bills, and then they were going to cross over, but it was the same issue. And the House voted, I don't know, about 20 minutes first. And next thing I know, I get this text message that Tom voted no. Matt Hookey and I went yes on a really tough issue, and Tom threw us under the bus and voted no. Just totally abandons us, leaves us flapping in the breeze. The more experienced guy, leaving the two freshmen looking like idiots. I went over and told Hookey, and his face just went, it's like, I can't believe it. So we're up there complaining to Pete Lund about it. So he said, well, go talk to Tom. So we walk over to the Senate to talk to Tom. And as soon as we walk in there, he starts laughing. We got you! We got you! That's when we knew we couldn't take him seriously anymore. So then we had to start watching him. So you go into the Senate, and you walk up on the gallery, and you're watching down there, and here's Tom Casperson, throwing water on the floor. Then he goes over and he walks on it. I was like, what's he doing? Well, that's the senators, they got to prove they can walk on water. Anyway, I'm glad I got to watch, because now I get to do that. Tom and I spent a lot of great hours in the car and participated in a Bible study together, prayed over a lot of common situations, and Tom was there for me this summer with the tragedy in my family, and we've been praying for your family, and God takes us down some pretty interesting paths. And I'm glad to have a brother like Tom. I think, in the car we had a lot of really interesting times. Sometimes I was on Marty's side, and sometimes I was on Tom's side. So I had the easy way. I could play off whichever one. But I think that we've really kind of figured out why Tom wasn't a better senator. He could have been a lot better. And I've cured that problem, because I'm not taking on Marty Fatante. And I've decided instead to hire Tom Casperson. But the one last thing I'll tell you is that when Tom first got elected, before we were even sworn in, the guy comes over, and you know that this is all in good humor, so I hope you understand that, because Tom's a very humble guy. But he can sure put on airs when he wants to. And so he'd come around and be like, "Hey, did you get the memo?" And be like, "No, what memo? I'm a senator." And you know what? He did that all the time. We'd be driving in the car, I'd be like, "Oh, do you see how the Senate sanitized my bill today?" And he's like, "Yep, Ed got the memo." You know? And I never actually got a memo, so I want Tom to come up here. Come on up. Here's Tom Casperson's memo. And don't go away, stay there. So, you know, since Tom, and maybe this was Marty's fault, I mean, I can believe that, but, you know, Tom never actually gave memos to anybody. I also need Sarah Cambenzi and Bola Fave and Greg Markinen to come up here, because I've got memos for all of you, too. Come on up. There you go. You are not the senator. Greg Markinen, you are not the senator. Sarah Cambenzi, you are not the senator. So, it's been my great privilege. I want to stand in a picture with you, so don't go. But it's been my great privilege and honor to learn from Tom, and I just am grateful to have the opportunity to follow in his footsteps, and I'll do the best that I can with your support. So thank you very much.